So an excellent atmosphere here in the Tokyo Dome. I know that Don King, the promoter, has flown in a lot of American servicemen, about 1,000 of them, to see this fight. So they're doing this in style. And indeed, there's a British flag flying from one of the balconies at the moment as well, because I think some crew from the QE2, which is in port at Tokyo at the moment, they're also around and they're at the fight here, and it's been very much the talk of Tokyo, this one. Tyson has really caught on in a big way here. Remember, he fought here a couple of years ago against Tony Tubbs and finished the job in 2 rounds flat on that occasion. And still we wait for the fighters. Evander Holyfield with me at ringside. Top contender for Mike Tyson's title. You were saying just before the anthems there that these will be nervy moments for Buster Douglas.
Well, yes, everybody has that dream and that special moment in their life. And for his boxing, being a heavyweight champion is the ultimate goal in boxing. So I'm sure that's exactly what Buster Douglas is thinking right now, what he's going to do to dethrone Tyson.
This, of course, is a crucial moment, I always think, in any Tyson fight. You can do all the talk you want beforehand, but when you get in the ring and you see him prowling around there, the opposite side of the ring to you, looking very, very mean, that must be a tough moment for a fighter.
Well, I feel that, you know, when you get to the point of getting ready to fight for heavyweight title, you should be used to that type of pressure, because each and every fight is a great deal of pressure.
Right. James Buster Douglas.
So Jimmy Lennon Jr., the MC, giving us the introduction to Buster Douglas, who should by now be making his way from the dressing room. And here come the Douglas camp from Columbus, Ohio. And there is James Buster Douglas, the man who says that so many guys who fight Tyson look like they're going to the electric chair. Well, it won't be like that for me, and I must say, he looks cool, calm, and confident enough from this range. He's got a nice bounce about him, Evander.
Well, he looked very confident coming into the ring. Now you just, when the bell rings, we'll see what kind of confidence he has throughout the fight.
I wonder what's going through his mind at this point.
Right now it's just time for showtime. It's time to prove what you've been talking about and what you've been dreaming about. It's time to work.
Douglas's record, 35 fights, 29 wins, 4 defeats and a draw. And it's been a real old mixed bag of a career for him. He's beaten people like Greg Page and Trevor Berbick and Randall Tex Cobb, but he's lost to David Bay and journeymen like Mike White and Jesse Ferguson, as well as his title defeat to Tony Tucker. But he's coming in here at 16 stone 7.5. He's somewhere near his best weight, which suggests he is in the mood. And if he's not in the mood for a world heavyweight title fight, when is he going to be in the mood? Tunnel vision for Douglas in there, I would think, Evander. How do you think he looks?
He looks good, look very confident. He coming in the ring, he bouncing in. It looked like he has the spirit.
Ladies and gentlemen, now making his way to the ring, the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
So we await for the entry of Mike Tyson, and this is always something of a sight to behold, because he brings to the ring with him such intensity, such savagery, such single purpose. And there he is, just the little white bathrobe, and if looks could kill. Jay Bright alongside him, who's been a friend back to the Gus D'Amato days of his teenage years. And Tyson will always wear simply those jet black trunks, the black boots, no socks, the throwback really to one of his idols, Jack Dempsey, and the old guard. He's got no time for all the glitz and glamour that surrounds this business. just wants to get in there and fight. That's his business. And it's a business so far he's performed, you have to admit, with some distinction. Perfect record, 37 straight wins and 33 of them by knockout. Tyson enters the ring in Tokyo. How does he look to you, Evander?
He looked great. He looked great. Tyson comes in the ring each and every time ready to fight. And that's one thing you have to give Mike Tyson credit. He comes to war.
The principles we have with us a presentation by the World Boxing Association of a Joe Louis heavyweight super belt given to Mike Tyson on behalf of his many successful defenses of the heavyweight crown. On behalf of the WBA, we have the Japan Boxing Commission Chief Commissioner Makoto Hosaka to present the Joe Louis super belt.
Tyson doesn't look that interested in this, does he? This little ceremony beforehand. It's a little bit irregular, I must say, with the fighter's mind very much on the job to start putting belts around his waist. Something they could save for later. And Tyson, understandably in my view, is not too interested at this stage. You can't blame him for that, really, Evander.
Well, that was very, very tacky on their part to break a man's concentration. He's getting ready to defend his title, something that he loves, and for them to break a concentration to bring in a belt.
So Tyson wanders around, as always, like the caged tiger. And you can see that he's been really working out in the dressing room.
Well, getting warmed up and getting prepared is very, very, very important because Tyson's a very explosive fighter and he comes out in a heat of rush like it's the third round. And he comes in explosive.
Well, just look at that face. It's become a familiar sight, the shaven head. He's been doing his PR bit in Tokyo as well as watching his Bruce Lee films, but now it's down to business. And I tell you what, he's so confident, Tyson, he's booked on a plane in 3 hours' time out of here.
The world, welcome to the Tokyo Dome in beautiful Tokyo, Japan. Nippon no Boxing Fan no Minasama, konnichiwa. We welcome you as Taipei Boxing Promotions in association with Diamond Kid Productions brings you the main event, 12 rounds of boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world. Introducing the promoters, Mr. Akihiko Honda and promoter extraordinaire Don Only in America King. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association and the World Boxing Council in conjunction with the Japan Boxing Commission. Representing the WBA President Gilberto Mendoza, the Vice President and Supervisor Dr. Manuel Virgilio Reis Purua, and the Challenger World Championship Committee is Dr. Elias Cordoba. Representing the WBC, we have the President Jose Sulaiman, the Supervisor Elias Gannon. Representing the Japan Boxing Commission, the Chief Commissioner Makoto Hosaka. Introducing the officials as they are appointed, the ringside physician Dr. Ken Suzuki, timekeeper at the bell, Riichi Hirano. The judges, Larry Rosadia, Ken Morita, and Masakazu Uchida. Now presenting to you the referee in charge of this main event, Octavio Mehran.
Mehran, who refereed the famous no-mass fight between Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard in New Orleans.
This is it, the main event scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first the challenger on my right in the blue corner. He's entering the ring wearing white trunks with red trim and fighting out of Columbus, Ohio. His weight 231 and 1/2 pounds. His record, 29 wins, 4 defeats, 1 loss, 1 draw, with 19 wins by way of knockout. He's ranked number 3 by the WBC, number 4 contender in the WBA. Please welcome the challenger, James Buster Douglas.
Well, he still looks pretty chirpy and confident in there. 6 years older than Tyson, of course.
The defending champion on my left, really needing no introduction the world over. He's ready to fight out of the red corner and attired in black trunks. Hailing from Catskill, New York, he weighed in at a ready 220 1/2 pounds. His outstanding record, 37 wins, no defeats, with 33 big wins by way of knockout. He's making his 10th defense of the heavyweight crown, introducing the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the one and only Iron Mike Tyson!
Well, that was quite a build-up, and Tyson continues to look like a force of nature waiting to explode.
Shake hands and good luck, Bob.
Big reach advantage for Douglas there, you could see. Joining me during the fight will be Colin Hart, the well-respected journalist from the Sun newspaper. We'll have another chat to Evander Holyfield afterwards. But all the talk is over now. Stand by for the action. A 12-inch reach advantage, let me stress that, for Douglas. And he's also 5 inches taller than Tyson. But then, having said all of that, nearly all Tyson's opponents are much taller than him, and it hasn't bothered him so far. 12 rounds for the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Tyson in the black shorts, Douglas in white. And 40,000 to 50,000 fans watching in the Tokyo's Dome. Douglas will try to work behind that good left jab of his. He's landed it a couple of times early on. Douglas has always had the reputation of being a capable fighter without pulling up too many trees in the heavyweight division. But here's his big chance. Good right to the head in that exchange from Douglas, who came off the ropes well as Tyson tried to close him down. A reminder that 2 of Tyson's last 3 fights have ended in the first round against Mike Spinks and Carl the Truth Williams. Douglas looks pretty dangerous with that right, and with good hand speed.
Hey,
Not a bad start in the opening half of the first round from the challenger, but these are early days.
Hey, break.
Colin Hart, some early impressions?
Oh, Douglas has started extremely well. He hasn't frozen, has he? In fact, he's taking the fight to Tyson.
It's a good right again from Douglas. So the man from Columbus, Ohio, who said he wouldn't freeze, is as good as his word. Tyson, you're getting the impression at the moment, still trying to work things out in there. That's another fair right from Douglas. And that's 2 or 3 he's landed in this opening round, and the jab isn't working bad either. And this is one of the more difficult rounds Tyson has had to encounter so far in his career.
Great. Get back. Okay.
Out of range with that jab as well, Tyson. Tyson only 4 times taken the distance by James Tillis, Mitch Green, Bone Crusher Smith and Tony Tucker. In a 37-fight career. Oh, and Douglas there really looking to explode the right hand, but for the first time Tyson caught him on the counter with the left hook. What an interesting opening round. Tyson wants to carry on fighting after it. Colin Hart, that was very, very interesting.
Well, I scored it for Douglas. I thought he did magnificently. You must remember when Frank Bruno hurt Tyson very badly in the first round of their fight a year ago. And Mr. Holyfield, who's sitting to my left, must have been very pleased with what he saw there, because Douglas is certainly not scared of Tyson. And I'm afraid Mike got caught with some very good jabs and one or two good right-hand crosses.
He looks a little bit thoughtful there in the corner, doesn't he? Does Tyson, and there's Buster Douglas as well, who must be well pleased with his work.
Absolutely. I mean, Mike really only landed one telling punch, and that was a left hook just before the end of the round. And he's been on the end of the jab most of the time. So it's going to be interesting to see how he works this one out.
Well, Tyson finished 17 of his opponents inside the first round. Not Buster Douglas, though. Now the second, and this, of course, is the round in which he finished off Tony Tubbs in this very ring in the Tokyo Dome. But can Douglas build on that impressive beginning? Reach advantage is quite important early on for Douglas. He's poking out that jab to some effect.
Hey, don't do that. Break. Okay.
And another fair right in there from Douglas. His hand speed looks exceptionally good. And the jab again, then a right, and Tyson is having his problems. We were saying beforehand that if Douglas could pull this one up, it would be just about the biggest shock in heavyweight history. And what we've seen in the first, four and a half minutes, you can't entirely rule it out. But these are embryonic stages of a 12-round contest. Remember that. Good work inside there from Tyson, landing with the left hook. And there's that right again from Douglas, and a right uppercut as well. And I think for a moment there, just for a split second, Tyson was a little shaken. If he was, he's not showing it too much. Douglas certainly cannot afford to relax at any stage. Tyson does have immense speed. Good body shot in there from Tyson this time, a right, which we almost felt from here, rib-crunching right. Douglas wants to hold on for a moment. Douglas, who has his 11-year-old son, Lamar, at ringside watching him. I suppose not all parents would have their children watching them fighting against Mike Tyson, but Douglas is obviously pretty confident that nothing serious is going to happen to him. And there's a good uppercut inside. And Douglas really letting go here with some punches. And Tyson looks very disorientated. And you sense that this big crowd in the Tokyo Dome sense a shock. Tyson lethargic, lacking timing, getting caught a lot. Colin Hart, no doubt at all about it, was Douglas's round by a streak.
Oh, absolutely. And now, you know, we've always wondered how Tyson would react if...
Come on now. I just said he can come in. Be calm. Just what you want to pay.
I say we've always wanted to know how Tyson would react if he was in a real fight. And now, for the first time since he's been champion, in his 10th defence, he's found someone in there who's not frightened of him, who's belted him with right hand, jabs, uppercuts. He got caught with a tremendous uppercut in that round. And there's no doubt he was shaken at least twice in those 3 minutes. And it's now going to be a fight. For the first time, we're going to see Mike Tyson in a fight, and we're going to find out what he's really made of. I've never gone along with this idea that he's invincible. He's a very good fighter. Now I'm going to see whether he's going to be on his way to greatness.
Well, there you see that excellent flurry from Douglas again in there. Now, Tyson, if he came in feeling that this was an easy job, will know differently. Once again, he's made to miss with that jab by Douglas, who looks so well honed for this, so well prepared. He's worked out a game plan, and so far he's carried it out to perfection.
Don't do that, mate. Right, okay. Go ahead.
That's a fair right again from Douglas.
Don't shoot. Don't shoot.
I would think in Tyson's corner at the moment, just a shade worried, wondering whether he's going to find his timing and rhythm. But he really does want to turn into a brawl, but he caught by another right there by Douglas. That right hand has been such a potent weapon for the man from Ohio.
No.
19 of his 29 wins have come by knockout, Douglas, which suggests he's a useful puncher, but not a lethal one. He's managed, incidentally, by the Ohio State assistant football coach, John Johnson. Can Douglas keep up the pace? Can he cash in on the early initiative? Not looking quite so snappy in this third round, Douglas. Those punches that were exploding around Tyson's jaw in the second don't seem to have quite so much in them.
We need punches, no breaks. All right.
Referee Mayran separating them. Seen him in Britain a few times, notably when Pat Caldell fought as Zuma Nelson. Didn't last long. 2 minutes 24 seconds to be exact. He was also the ref when Alan Minter fought Vito Antuofumo for the world title in America.
Break.
Well, that's a good left hook by Tyson. Suddenly, the warning signs flashed for a moment there for Douglas. And the heads coming perilously close together in that exchange. Always a danger of cuts when that kind of thing happens. And I notice Douglas just pouring his right eye there. Don't know if there's any problem. We'll have a closer look at it. Left jab going in from Tyson. Better round from him. And the feeling maybe in this third that the champion is at last starting to get a slight foothold in the fight. Quite a round. What did you make of it, Colin Hart?
Yes, I think that Douglas is tiring from those efforts in the first 2 rounds. He slowed down a bit there, and therefore Tyson was able to avoid a lot of the punches coming at him. And of course, he's now beginning, as you say, to get into the fight for the first time. But he still didn't look too clever in those first 6 minutes. But he's probably now speed up a little and see if he can wear Douglas down with those body shots he's firing. One right to the body made my breath leave my body, let alone Douglas's, just listening to it thud against his ribs.
And we're on the safe side of the ropes, of course.
Thank goodness.
Remember that when Barry McGuigan used to fight, it used to hurt at ringside, let alone when you were taking the punches. So, 4th round, Douglas just wincing a bit there. I don't know if he's got some kind of problem. It looks a lot less happy going into this 4th round. The third, was it a turning point? The first 2 fairly sensational against the form book in Douglas's favour. Working well again behind that jab is Buster Douglas. Tyson is being made to eat that jab a little bit. A few verbals going on in the corner then, I thought, between the 2 of them.
Up your head. Break!
Tyson looking all the time to explode that vicious left hook. So far, and Douglas will be pleased about this, he hasn't quite found the timing. But doesn't Douglas look a lot more tired to you now? He does to me. And it's always a bit discouraging for a fighter when you've hit a man with your best shots and he's still standing in front of you in the way Tyson is, because Douglas really did give it everything in those first 2 rounds, but can he keep up this pace? Signs that the answer may be no.
Break, both, step back.
In his last fight, Douglas beat one of Tyson's sparring partners, Oliver McCall, and on that occasion he was weighing a whopping 17.5 stone. A stone less for this one.
No punching.
That's a great right from Douglas. He suddenly found that punch from the locker room. Just when we thought he was beginning to fade. And ominously for Tyson again, there was no way he ever looked like slipping it. That right hand punch is a dangerous one. In Tyson's credit, you have to say that he took it very, very well indeed and barely flinched.
All right. No.
This unsatisfactory mauling there. And Tyson is very dangerous, by the way, when he's coming out of these kind of mauls. He tends to throw punches as he's coming out of them, and you've got to be on your guard. Oh, that's a good left hook from Tyson this time. And now Douglas, for a moment, looked wobbly, didn't he? As that one landed. Fights back bravely. Interesting round. Super right from Douglas in the middle of it, but the left hook sent the alarm bells ringing for Douglas right at the end. Colin Hart again.
Yes, he sat on his stool very wearily that time, and he got caught with that left hook from Tyson, and it hurt him badly, and it will take him a long time to recover from the effects of that single punch. And as I say, he sank on the stool very wearily, and now you look at Tyson, he was upset that the round ended when it did, because he looked like he was going to move in to finish it.
It did look as if he was settling down.
Come on, all 4 rounds. You got to hold your concentration.
So Tyson was settling himself, I think, to throw a very big punch right at the end of that round to try and finish it off, but he really did shake up Douglas with the left hook. So a big crowd in here, something like 40,000, and they're intrigued by this one. They've certainly had their value for money. Douglas coming out again full of courage, still throwing out his punches. It's a good jab though by Tyson. He's showing signs that he's just beginning to find the range. He certainly did with that left hook at the end of the last round. That's another good right though from Douglas, and didn't that just momentarily, I think, stunned Tyson, who seemed to just freeze on the spot momentarily as it landed. Head's cleared now. Douglas much the taller man. He's notoriously good with his jab. This Buster Douglas, but that right hand has been, I think, a little bit of a surprise for Tyson. And there's another right. Every time. Tyson having to eat it, and again, 2 more. And Tyson is hurt by that. And he looked a bit disorientated. So what a fight we have here. 5th round, halfway through it. And we thought Buster Douglas might be on his way out at the end of the last round, but how he's come back in this one. And you just wonder what this ever-thickening plot is going to throw up next. Tyson, of course, has been painted as the invincible ring monster over the last couple of years. He hasn't looked invincible here. He's looked beatable. His timing's been out. He's landed with the occasional stunning punch, but Douglas has put up what so far is just about the most impressive challenge we've seen from anybody. Though Tony Tucker did pretty well as well against Tyson.
No.
Closing seconds then of the 5th round. You've got the countdown on the left of your picture. Evander Holyfield, who's due to fight Tyson next, providing Tyson holds onto the title, and that's by no means certain, is a very interesting spectator indeed. So there we go, the end of the 5th round. They want to fight on.
Use your ability.
777. Move your head. Get in here. You gotta back this guy up. You gotta stay close. Start going around here. Jab, right hand around here. Come back. All right?
Open up inside. And move on just after the bell, please. Move after you punch.
Second out. Round 6.
Okay, here we go for round 6. Interesting round. Coming up to the halfway point, and Tyson has rarely been taken this far in his career. This was the round he finished off Pinkland Thomas. But Douglas is still very much in there pitching. He said, "I'm not coming to Japan for the money or the sushi. I'm coming here to win." And you have to hand it to Buster Douglas. That was not one of those empty pre-fight boasts. He's been as good as his word. That's a good right uppercut inside by Tyson. But I must say, on my scorecard at the moment, I have Douglas ahead in this fight. Whether the judges will be called upon remains to be seen. Still a long way to go. 6th round of 12.
Sit back. Next time, hold, step back. No punches, step back. All right.
Well, the question's been posed, of course, whether Tyson's love of the nightlife, whether the private turmoil in his background will one day catch up with him. I don't honestly think any of those things are really a factor. There's something that the press and people like me tend to talk about pre-fight. But so when he gets in the ring, he's usually a changed man. But tonight, it's been a very subdued Tyson indeed. And again, his timing was out with that left hook. Jab again from Douglas, piling up the points.
Break. All right.
Douglas was coming up a good run into this fight as well. He'd stopped or knocked out his last 6 opponents. No doubt about it, this so far is very much the performance of his life. At the end of the round, we'll try and grab a quick word with Evander Holyfield. At the end of this round, maybe we'll bring in Evander, see what he's making of it. Oh, there's Tyson trying to get him with the left hook. But again, the timing wasn't quite there. Douglas looks fairly tired as he goes back to the corner. But this is some challenge, Evander Holyfield.
Definitely. Douglas came out and fighting this fight. He keeping Mike Tyson at bay, and he's fighting an excellent fight. But you know, this is a 12-round fight, not a 6-round fight. So as Douglas is able to maintain his stamina and keep Mike and get that respect like he's doing, I think he can come out with a victory.
That's the $64,000 question. Can Douglas keep this up and win?
Well, that's up to Douglas. It all depends on the stamina. He's proven that he has the skills that's necessary to win this fight. Now it's just up to the stamina.
He certainly landed some good punches. Thank you, Evander. Evander Holyfield, who, just to remind you, is next on Mike Tyson's list, provided Tyson can come through this. Round 7 now. Undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, in case you're just catching up with it all in the middle of the night back home. And the story so far is that Mike Tyson is having one of his toughest tests yet. And on most scorecards, I would think, would be behind at this stage. Break! Two of the judges, by the way, from Japan. That's another nice right from Douglas, and the left hook as well. And he almost seems to be able to land that fast right at will.
Break. All right, break. Break.
So this arena that's seen big concerts by the likes of Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton and Prince has got another spectacular on its hands here. And it's much more of a fight than any of us dreamed beforehand.
All right.
Tyson trying to work away inside with those left hooks of his. Oh, he got caught. He walked right onto that right hand. How did he take that punch?
Break.
And I was just thinking then in the back of my mind, what would happen if he walked onto a punch like that from Evander Holyfield or George Foreman? Tyson just can't seem to wrestle the initiative. He just can't seem to get going.
Okay.
It's a bit like a Grand Prix car trying to run on 2-star at the moment. Again in this round, the better work has come from Buster Douglas, for my money anyway. Final few seconds. Can Tyson stage a big finish? Well, we'd heard stories that Tyson didn't look good in training. We took them with a pinch of salt. We heard he was floored by Greg Page. He said it was a slip. This time, mysteriously, Tyson just hasn't been able to transform himself into the ring. He doesn't really look over-motivated, does he, either? Colin Hart.
Well, you see, he can only fight as well as his opponent allows him to fight. And Douglas is not allowing him to get set. He's beating him to the jab all the time. He's putting him off balance. And it's not what Tyson's not doing, it's what Douglas is doing. And, of course, the greatest thing in Douglas's favour is that he came out tonight intending to win, not to survive, and most of Tyson's opponents have gone in with him only wanting to survive. And as you probably saw from your screens, they're working very hard on Tyson's left eye, which is swelling ominously. It's not closed, but it's closing. And I'll tell you something, from where I'm sitting, he's in trouble.
I'd agree with you totally, Colin. Somewhere, Tyson has got to find a couple more gears. But that jab of Douglas's has been a very dominant factor so far, and every time Tyson tries to get inside, he just can't seem to find the rhythm. Oh, that's a good left hook from him, though. Douglas took it well. Good punch from Tyson, who I suspect is being told by the corner that he really does have to start producing the goods here, otherwise, sensationally, his title could be slipping away in his 10th defense. Quite impressed too, Colin, with the way Douglas is pacing himself during this fight, taking breaks in the rounds and then little explosive moments.
Yes, he's a good pro, you see. I mean, he's not a baby. He's 29 years of age. He's been around 8-9 years, so he knows the business. It's very interesting what you were saying before about what Foreman might do. I was sitting here thinking, what would Ali do with Mike Tyson? Everybody said he's probably the greatest heavyweight ever, lots of rubbish like that. I tell you what, Mr. Ali would have played with him.
Certainly tonight, no doubt about it, but we are seeing, I think, a very below-form Tyson, which is to take nothing away from Buster Douglas, who is doing Ohio proud here. They must be getting very excited indeed, I would think, back in Columbus watching this.
You know, Douglas said that he wants to be the most famous citizen ever produced by Columbus. The man who holds that distinction at the moment is Jack Nicklaus.
He's just got a bit of a way to go then. Still Douglas working well with that jab, and there's the right hand again. And Tyson's defense, to me tonight, looks all of a mess. 2 jabs, 3 jabs, and every one of them finds the target. I don't know what Tyson's been doing in his training, but he does not look very well honed for this at all. It's another good right from Douglas. Fair punching there somewhere along the line too, I think, from Tyson. He's really starting to unload now, Douglas. Tyson wants to cover up on the ropes. You could be watching one of the big sensations here. And Tyson's eye, the left eye, is closing now. And he looks down and he's got Douglas with that punch. Sensational stuff. Can Douglas get away from it? What a turnaround. I don't think he's going to get up. It's at 8, 9. He's not going to make it, I don't think. Is he on his feet? Just about. Referee Mayron lets it go on. What a fight we have here. Tyson looked all done with on the ropes. His eye was swollen, and suddenly, he produced a punch from nowhere to turn this fight on its head. Colin, unbelievable stuff.
Well, that's what a punch is all about. That's why when you've got somebody in there who can really bang like Tyson, he turns almost certain defeat into victory. Watch it coming now. Wham!
Oh, right uppercut. What
that
a
was
shot
like
that was.
That must have been like being hit by an oak tree trunk. Tremendous uppercut.
And it was Douglas's very good fortune that the bell came right on schedule for him.
Absolutely. Well, now we'll see how he recovers from that one.
He wasn't up at 9, was he? He was up at 9.9, I think.
Well, he's looked very close to me, and I thought perhaps the referee was going to stop it before the bell.
So, has Douglas had time to recover? Tyson now scents blood. He knows that he can really turn this around now. And we've been giving Tyson a fair bit of flack tonight. Mayran almost got hit there, the referee. But you have to hand it to him. That's part of what being a champion's all around. Turning it around, and look at this flurry now. And now Tyson's in trouble. Is he going to go down? For the first time in his professional career, I thought for a moment it was about to happen. Well, whatever else happens here, we've certainly seen the most exciting, compelling Mike Tyson title fight yet. That's a great right from Tyson. Now Douglas is wobbly again. The fight swinging this way and that. Still Tyson's left eye half shut.
No. Step back. Step back.
Absolute corker of a fight, this one. Hope you're enjoying it back home as much as we are in the Tokyo Dome. Halfway through round 9 then. So after this, only 3 rounds to go. And we have to start adding up our points totals, but I think there's a fair bit of drama to come yet. Oh, it's another superb rally from Douglas, and Tyson is in trouble, staggered on the ropes. Sensational flurry from Douglas and Tyson. Surely he can't take too many more of these. He'll need all his fighting heart here now. This is an incredible fight. The first time we have ever seen Tyson really under serious pressure and hand it to him. He's still on his feet. How, I will not try to explain to you. From Douglas, crunching into the target of Tyson's head. Surely not even Mike Tyson can take too much more of that kind of punishment.
Okay, Mike. Okay, James.
Right at the end of this round, and there's the bell to end another absolute humdinger of a round. We're going to bring in Evander Holyfield again now. Evander, this is some fight, isn't it?
It's a great fight. This fight shows determination both fighters have. This is one of the first fights that Mike Tyson has been proven. He has to prove that he's a great champion. This is a great champion because just the kind of fight that makes an individual great.
I know you're not keeping a round-by-round score, but how would you have it at the moment, you think?
Right now, I think Douglas is winning the fight. I think Douglas is throwing more punches, and when Mike Tyson rocked Douglas, Douglas was able to come back.
It was amazing, really, that Tyson survived that round at all, because I thought he was on the verge of going.
Well, he's showing determination. He's showing what it takes to be a champion. You have to be able to take the punishment as well as dish it out.
Thank you very much again, Evander Holyfield. A very interested spectator, of course, #1 contender for the title, whoever holds it, after this one. And look at the way Tyson came out so aggressively at the start of round 10. Final 3 rounds. Tyson fighting with his left eye closed. Douglas down for a count of 9.5.
No punches. No punches.
At the end of round 8, coming back to nearly finish off Tyson himself in the 9th. Whatever next here. And I wonder what Buster Douglas's son is making of all of this at ringside. He must be very, very proud of his dad indeed.
No, Mike. No, James.
Really is developing into an out-and-out war, as they call it in the boxing fraternity now.
Break.
Science tending to get thrown to the wind a little, but Douglas, I think, would be pretty well advised to just keep on working behind that jab, and look at that right uppercut. Then the left, and Tyson is down! Tyson is down for the first time in his career, and the title could be slipping away. Can he get up from this one? We never thought we'd see this. You may be watching the biggest sensation in heavyweight history. It is all over. The title has gone from Mike Tyson in a scintillating, dramatic, pulsating and sensational fight in Tokyo. Buster Douglas is the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and it seems that we just cannot believe in Tokyo. They are going wild in the ring. Douglas looks bemused by it all. Tyson is back on his feet again somewhere. amid all the hullabaloo. But we'll have another look at that ending again in just a moment. Tyson can hardly believe it. What a sight he is. His belief in his own invincibility must be gone. He's sold by Aaron Snowell. The trainers in the corner. And I think suddenly, it's dawned on James Buster Douglas just what has happened to him. The man who wanted to be the most famous citizen of Columbus, Ohio, following on from Jack Nicklaus. Well, after this, he's a rival for the title, there's no doubt about it, but there's one title he's got for sure, and that is undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Colin Hart.
Well, you've got to be quite an old man to remember a bigger upset than this. 1937, James J. Braddock. Oh, we're going to see the finish.
Here it is again, Colin. Now watch this. I wondered how much more Tyson could take. Let's have a look at the punches that did it. Set him up with the jab. There's the right uppercut. I think that did a lot of the damage. Then the left hook. Then another right. Then another left. And it was good night, Mike Tyson. The man who's been dubbed and seen as a monster of the ring, well, has been reduced to a mere mortal tonight.
Yes, as I say, you've got to go back to 1937 when James J. Braddock, given probably less chance than Douglas against Tyson, beat Max Baer. And then again was the great Ali when he fought Sonny Liston, a Tyson-type monster in 1964. 7-1 underdog. Do you know, back in Las Vegas, they wouldn't even take bets on this fight. They thought it was such a foregone conclusion. They wouldn't even take a bet on what round Tyson was going to finish it. It is quite sensational. That's a word that's bandied around much too often. But this, ladies and gentlemen, was a sensation.
There's no doubt about it. You know, Colin Hart and I have sat through a few fights in our time, like the Hagler-Hearns one in Vegas about 5 years back, but I don't know. For me, that just about beats the lot, Colin.
Well, it does, and don't forget the guy that was sitting on your left a few seconds ago, Evander Holyfield. He's just seen $11 million blown out of the window. That was his guarantee for fighting Tyson.
Well, it's an incredible story. He's got his 11-year-old son in there somewhere. His mother died 3 weeks ago. The mother of his child is seriously ill. And in a moment, we will try to grab a word with the hero of the hour, Buster Douglas. Larry Merchant is in there somewhere. He's going to do the interview for us. Maybe we'll hear Buster Douglas, can we? Let's see if we can hear him. Okay, we can't hear him, but look at that face. I think the emotion of the moment has got to him. Maybe we'll try to get back to Buster Douglas in just a second to get his reaction to all of that, but there seems to be a little technical hitch there with the microphone in the ring. I'm not really surprised by all of that, frankly, because it's absolute chaos and bedlam around here in Tokyo. Crowd are absolutely stunned. So while we try and sort out the problems up there in the ring, let's hear about Evander Holyfield. Evander, what's your reaction to that? Because quite frankly, Colin Hart and I were saying we could hardly believe it.
Well, James Douglas fought a good fight. He was first each and every time. He was able to get off, and he was able to keep Tyson at the bay, and he was able to gain the respect, and he was able to pressure the fight and have very good stamina, which proved that he was a smart fighter, a very courageous fighter. He proved that he had heart, and he proved that he was the best man tonight, and he's knocked Tyson out.
So where does that leave Evander Holyfield? And your fight with Tyson's obviously off, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is. I guess, like I said earlier program, that my goal is to be the heavyweight champion, and not just to fight Tyson, but to fight the winner, and Buster Douglas the winner.
So it's you and Buster Douglas, I guess, if they can sort out the money and everything else.
Well, I hope so. I'm just ready to get my opportunities.
Great fight, wasn't it? You see anyone better than that ever?
Great fight, no doubt about it. It was a great fight. Douglas went out and did his thing, and he did it well.
Evander, it's been great talking to you, and we'll see you again when you challenge for that heavyweight championship.
Thank you.
Evander Holyfield, thank you for that, Evander. He's got to go off now and do all sorts of other things, but while we just get our breath back from all of that, the story of the fight is certainly worth recapping again, with Douglas coming out very strong in the first 2 rounds, really shaking up Tyson with right-hand punches. And really throughout, Tyson never gained his rhythm, never found his timing, never got into gear. And to be fair, that was because Douglas never let him. Douglas was always working pretty well behind the jab. It looked as if Tyson had pulled the fight right out of the fat of the fire in the 8th round when he had Douglas down right at the end of the round for a count of 9. It looked like even 9.5. Luckily, the bell went. It saved Douglas at that point.
His momentum at that point.
Then in the 9th round, well, Tyson was in trouble, and in the 10th it was all over. Let's go into the ring.
I was ready for it. I was aware of everything. I was totally aware of everything. Dad, this is for you. I love you. Hey, we work in this eyes.
Well, we just caught a few words from Buster Douglas, but what a big moment it is for him. Colin Hart, I think when we came to Tokyo, we just really thought we were here to watch a formality.
Oh, is it just another quick night? What? I tell you what's going to be interesting, how much the return.